Now the bacon.
Listen.
Oh, I'm sorry, kitty. Hold on a sec. Cat needs to go outside. Hey, Tim here, and you and I are going to walk through a Kentucky hot brown sandwich recipe that I absolutely love. This is an ooey gooey, comforting, open-faced sandwich that is so easy to make and so delicious. So, let's get started. I really like this recipe because it has some fun techniques, still kind of cooking. You're making a Mornay sauce, which is kind of this cheesy sauce that's similar to macaroni and cheese sauce, but at the same time, it's a lot of easy ingredients that you have in your kitchen, really good leftovers kind of sandwich, so really the best of both worlds. First thing I'm gonna do is grate some white cheddar. I'm going to grate some Parmesan cheese, and we're gonna grate this a little bit finer than the cheddar. If you've seen any of the videos that I've made, you know by now that I'm a big fan of Parmesan. It adds so much more depth to any of the recipes that you're making. So, like I say, use whatever cheese you have, white cheddar, regular cheddar, whatever you've got, and then add Parmesan. For the sauce itself, I only need 1/4 of a cup of this Parm, but don't worry, we're gonna use all of it in the end. I have 1½ tablespoons of flour and 2 tablespoons of butter, and we're gonna need that to make our Mornay sauce. So let's get cooking. So the first thing you have to do when you're making a Mornay is you have to make a roux. This is gonna help thicken our sauce. First things first, I'm gonna melt the butter. I have 2 tablespoons here. I'm gonna melt that over medium-low heat. Just swirl that around. And then I have 1½ tablespoons of flour. So once it starts bubbling, you'll smell this kind of like sugar cookie, popcorn kind of smell, buttery popcorn. It's really, really nice. And it doesn't take long. That's kind of how you know it's ready. So at this point, we're gonna add 1 cup of milk. Once that comes up to a simmer, it'll start thickening up, and it doesn't take long, 2 to 4 minutes tops. This is such a good sandwich. The Kentucky Hot Brown, it was invented in the 20s during the Prohibition in the Brown Hotel. And I think there were some people probably ignoring the Prohibition, and the chef needed to make something for them so that they could feel a little better. So you can already see this roux starting to work. The bubbles are kind of slower moving and thicker. So now it's time to add the cheese. We've got 1 cup of white cheddar and 1/4 cup of the Parmesan. And we're just gonna whisk it together until it's nice and smooth. Yeah, just keep cooking it and whisking until you don't see any more lumps. And we're there. So now it's time to assemble the hot brown sandwiches. So here we go. I've got a few more things. Some Roma tomatoes or plum tomatoes. Just gonna slice these really quickly. We're gonna do this on a stoneware bar pan. I've got 6 slices of toasted bread. Lay this out. And this is about 1/2 pound of turkey. Now, I think this recipe is kind of perfect for Thanksgiving leftovers or any other time in the holidays. You've got a big turkey that you've roasted. But for now, I just went to the deli and asked them to cut it really thick because that's kind of how I like it. Okay, now I've got my slices of tomato. I'm gonna do 2 slices per sandwich. And I can't stress this enough, you have to season your tomatoes with just a little bit of salt. This isn't gonna make them taste salty, it's just gonna make them taste more like a tomato. And that's true for not just the sandwich. Anytime you're using tomatoes in any recipe, a little bit of salt will just make everything better. And you know what, I'll do a little bit of black pepper too. So now we've got that beautiful Mornay. I'm gonna use a scoop to kind of evenly pour it all over the sandwich. It's like a scoop per sandwich. If you can't tell already, this is kind of a fork and knife kind of situation. When you're covering your sandwich in ooey gooey cheese sauce. Yeah. Now the bacon. So, listen, I'm not necessarily always a rule follower when it comes to recipes. I think it's good to know the rules so that you can break them. But when it comes to a hot brown, the pre-cooked bacon has to go in an X. I don't really know why, but if it's not making an X, you didn't make a hot brown. All right, so now we're gonna go under the broiler. This is gonna make sure the bacon gets nice and crisp, and it'll happen in just like a minute or two. Okay, now we're talking. How good does that look? Last little touches, we've got that Parmesan we saved from earlier. And just a pinch of paprika. Fresh parsley. Because, you know, after the bacon and the cheese, it's good to have something green. And here we go. And there you have it. You don't even have to travel to Kentucky to try it for yourself. Simple, delicious, comfort food in sandwich form. You're gonna love it.